What's up guys, welcome to the channel. This is solely based for the S197s out there, 05 to 14, because pretty much almost a dying breed. You don't see S197s running around as much. You see a lot of 13s, 14s, and especially the new S550s, and I'm sure everyone's gonna be loving the new 18s, which I personally don't really care for right now, but it's probably gonna grow on me like every other body style change. Let's get to the review. I'm gonna show you exactly what I've got done to her. Her name is Ruby. Let's go. All right guys, so first off, I'm gonna start off with the wheels. I do have these staggered 18 by 10 and 18 by 9 FR500s wrapped in the Sumitomo HTRZs. Now when I got these wheels, I got these off a late model resto. That's why they have the SVE center caps for special vehicle equipment. I had these on my other Mustang. Now before this Mustang, I had a 2004 Oxford White Mach 1. It was a 4-speed automatic, and I traded it in for her, and she was bone stock when I got her. This was one of the later things that I did. When I ordered these wheels, these were the last ones online. American Muscle didn't have them. LMR had these last sets, and everywhere else I looked, it was a 6-month back order. But the reason why I went with these is because, not just because I had them on my other Mustang, but everyone now is running either AMRs or just a new modern design, and I just love the look of the FR500s. Not many people run them anymore, and it's just a good, unique look. That's one of the things that I get compliments on when I go to like a car meet or car show or whatever. A lot of the older guys really like the style of the wheel, and it's one of my favorites. Now another thing that I got, of course, is the rear MMD louvers. Now rear louvers are probably not everyone's choice, but I wanted this look because I just love the look of the late 60s fastback, and I just wanted to throw a little bit of an old school tribute to the older Mustangs. The only downside to this, if you're really thinking about getting louvers, is be weary. I don't know if it's just the ones I got, but that is how they sound going down the highway. They rattle, not as bad as that, but what I've done in the past that I need to do, because they came off the other day, is I got little insulation foam for like weather stripping, just got little small pieces and placed them closer to the ones that are actually touching the window. That allows it to prop up and prevent vibration. But other than that, I love this exterior mod. It just gives a nice retro look. Now with these quarter louvers, I got these off bangastang.com. If you haven't heard of it, it's because they are no longer around. But it was a website that sold every part you could think of, exterior, engine, dress kits, everything for just strictly 05 to 09 Mustangs. But they're no longer around. When I got these, I got them painted and shipped for 130 bucks, so you can't beat that. This was the second thing I did to the car. I'm gonna show you the very first thing I did the very first day I bought this Mustang. Very first day I came home with this, I painted this. As you see, I do have the V6 Fox cap on there. And the whole reason why I got rid of the GT is because I wanted a subtle look. I wanted a traditional Tribar pony, and I just don't like the flashiness of GT badges everywhere, like the fenders, the decklid. I don't like all that. That's just me. I wanted a cleaner look because at the time I wanted to make it look like a sleeper. I didn't want no one to know it was a GT. I didn't want anyone else to know anything, but at the same time, she doesn't sound like a V6. But believe it or not, I've had a lot of questions, especially coming on base since I'm military, is it a V6 or a GT? And it's like, come on, you don't know the sound of a GT or V8 or whatever? That's how you know you're not a car guy. But anyways, these are the Raxiom smoke taillights I got off American Muscle about 2 years ago. I actually got a really good deal on these. Got them for 69 bucks. You cannot beat that. They are attached to the Sequential harness kit. That is also a must. So as I was saying, I had a 2004 Mach 1, and yes, I had to throw the shaker back on this bad boy. This is the CDC Shaker Kit that I got for a Mustang. I actually got it after I came back from my deployment. I was overseas in the desert, and the one thing I was always wanting to do was get a cowl hood. I was gonna go with a big 4-inch cowl hood. But I started thinking, if I get a nice hood, I'm gonna get rock chips. It's gonna piss me off because that's the worst thing you want, is to get something new that's freshly painted, get rock chips, especially out here in the country. There's bugs, semis, off-road trucks. So yeah, that's not the smartest thing. So I went with the next best thing that I always wanted. was the shaker kit for this car. Now, I did do the cutting for myself. If you're worried about it, don't worry. It's actually really easy. It only took about an hour. Just take your time. They give you the template for it. So, real quick fact about the 05 to 09 hoods. These ribs underneath the hood are actually designed, predetermined by Ford. If you can see, there's already a square cutout because they're already anticipating on the Parnelli Jones, which has the shaker kit. So every 05 to 09 was mass manufactured with that cutout underneath. So when you cut it, you don't have to cut through the ribs of the hood or anything. So it was actually a really genius idea of Ford to do that, not just for the Parnelli Jones, but for everyone, because they already knew that they were going to give this option in an aftermarket form. Now, this is how it runs. It does run into a BBK cold air intake. This is not the plastic one. It is a Silver Street kit. I did paint it black just so it can flow a lot better with the whole system. It isn't as functional as a lot of people think. A lot of people think that it's directly into the throttle body or directly into the air filter. It doesn't. It's more of an aesthetic look and just more of a tribute back into the 60s and 70s when they had the shaker kit. Of course, back in the day, they had big block motors with cams, and at idle, the motor would shake, thus giving the name shaker. Now, the way this kit runs is air gets sucked in through the front, and it just routes through the back of this, going straight into the cold air. And with this sealing off the engine hood, it gives a little bit of an airflow and cooler temperatures to it, but nothing drastic. You're not going to get horsepower out of it, but it is a good aesthetic look. One of the main differences between my shaker kit and a lot of other shaker kits is I fabricated this 1-inch riser to sandwich between the actual inlet of the shaker and the base of the shaker. So this is going to allow the shaker to stick up higher out of the hood, because if you've looked on like a lot of 03, 04 Mach 1s or any other Mustang with a shaker kit, the shaker actually sits either flush or sometimes below the opening of the hood. I don't like that look. It makes it look real small, and I wanted something to stand out and be a lot more aggressive. So it changes the look. So if you actually want me to show you exactly how I fabricated this, let me know in the comments below and I'll show you step by step what you need. It's very simple. You can actually do this in less than 20 bucks. So yeah. You can see she's also got some stack racing underdrive pulleys. That is a must to get rid of that parasitic draw that the AC condenser pulls on your motor when you're utilizing it. If you can see, the throttle body is painted a nice cherry red. It is an acrylic enamel. The reason why I painted it is because when I took it off, I had it ported and polished, and before I had the shaker kit, it stood out really nice, and I just wanted it to stand out when I had this uncovered, but now it's covered so you can't see it. So moving on, I do have Innovited HID 5Ks. These aren't bad. They've actually lasted me about 4 years and they're still going. I have swapped out bulbs here and there, but it's just one of those things that you got to do. All right, guys, so moving on to the front end, those are the factory headlights wrapped in some light smoked vinyl. I do have the V6 grille along with the nice CDC front spoiler that I just recently painted. I also fixed a clouded spot here. If you haven't checked out that video, it shows you exactly how to get any moisture or fogginess out of clear coat without wet sanding or any of that stuff, just using a simple heat gun. Check it out. I'll link it in the description box below. You're probably wondering why I swapped the V6 grille out with the GT grille. It's mainly because I don't like the big fog lights. Something about them I don't like. I know they have the delete kits now, but at the time they didn't have that. And they also didn't have the affordable bullet grille that American Muscle has now. Now, the main difference between the V6 and the GT grille is not the fog lights. It is actually the size of the grille opening. Now, if you look right here, the GT is actually a ½ inch wider on both sides. Even on the bottom, it's about a ¼ inch than the V6 grille. That's why when you go to American Muscle and they have the option of buying this grille, they specifically tell you it will not fit a GT, and this is why. It does not fit the placement, it does not fit the tabs, and I'm going to show you exactly how I got this to work. Now, like I said, I had to custom fit a nice foam insert all the way around, give a nice seal and transition. It's textured just like ABS plastic, so you can't tell at all. But the big difference, and the one thing I was telling you about, is those tabs do not clip into the factory bumper. So I had to cut the tabs off, fabricate my own bracket that you see down here. I fabricated this bracket out of aluminum that goes to the radiator support, and as well as the opposite side. So those two brackets and the ones at the bottom are the only thing that holds this on. Now, it is actually sturdy. I can shake it, pull it, whatever. It's not gonna come out unless I take this bracket off. Yeah, so I wanted a nice, simple look. I wanted it clean and subtle. At first, a lot of people thought it was a V6 because I did not have the shaker. I just had the V6 grill, the V6 badge on the trunk, and I also don't have GT fender badges. I have the Powered by Ford fender badges that I got off a late model resto. Yeah. Alright guys, so moving on to the interior, I do have this carbon fiber vinyl. It was something that I did myself, made my own template, and it's not like the ones you see on American Muscle that are really bulgy and thick. I wanted something subtle that kind of transitions from the natural plastic onto it. So yeah, it's a good appearance mod, nothing too crazy. Now, as you saw in the beginning, I do have the push start. This is a kill switch, and I have a secondary kill switch in another location. So if you actually want to start this car, it does not start with the key, and as long as this is down, it won't start. But once you flip this up, it's pretty loud, and I love it. Let me take this out. I do have Stack Racing white face gauges. They are overlays, and they do work with the My Color. I'm gonna show you how they look with the My Color. Now, you can still see that, oh, let me get this. So you can see that it does change colors very well. It's still visible, and it just works really, really well. The only downside to this is when you're driving in daytime and you don't have your lights on. As you can see, the numbers are a lot harder to read, but other than that, it's just a nice subtle look. So if you're looking to get some white face overlays from Stack Racing, it's really recommended. It works well, and it's just a nice subtle look. I also have these Diode Dynamics door inserts that my buddy got me a few years ago. Also have the matching Diode Dynamics aluminum door lock. Over here, sitting in the gauges, I do have a narrow band air fuel gauge. If you're looking to get one, get a wide band. Those are way more accurate, but if you want something that does absolutely nothing, get this. Now, I fabricated the bracket so it allows air to flow around it. This was before they offered the air vent gauge pod. I just fabricated a bracket, put it in there, and it sits in there very nice, but it just bounces around. It just looks like it does stuff, but it doesn't. I'll show you. Exterior of the car. Now, if you're asking me what kind of lowering springs I have, the car is lowered 2 inches all the way around. It may not look like it, but the front is definitely lowered and the rear is definitely lowered. Now, these are stock springs. What I did, you're probably gonna judge me, but whatever. 3 years ago, I chopped these springs. I was like, you know what? I wanted to go to a cheaper method. I'm gonna lower it because I've done it to every single car I've had, and it doesn't affect the handling as bad as you probably think. Now, I cut 2.5 rings off each of the coils. They do have I bought caster camber bolts in the front. I did have to get the RTR tactical panhard bar because my rear end was offset. So when you lower a Mustang, your rear end's gonna shift to the driver's side. That's where the panhard bar comes, especially if you get an adjustable. Get an adjustable one. That way you can target and center your drivetrain exactly where you need it. But the RTR panhard bar definitely gave it a lot more rigidity. and it just realigned my rear end, so that's a must when you're lowering your Mustang. So you're probably wondering what exhaust setup I have. Now, I have Axleback deletes, they're just magnaflow tip, but it does run into a UPR off-road X-pipe. I do have a Diablo Sport 91 race tune. It is a Stita tune. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, her name is Ruby. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the channel. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them below. Yeah, so this was the in-depth review on my 2005 Mustang. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, and until next time, this is the S197 Life. Peace.